So yesterday I get back from lunch. I was having a great day, and then I walk past Matt Miller's desk, and he's playing Destiny just out of nowhere. You lucky bastard. I'm Andrew Reiner. This is Matt Miller. He's going to play the game for us today. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
And we got Jeff Cork here to glare at him as well.
You can't see this, but there's some serious glare stares.
There's a lot of hate.
glaring,
Yeah, you are a lucky guy. So how much of this have you played, Miller?
I played pretty much all day yesterday. I played a bunch at work, and then went home and I played some more.
So just rubbing it in. Just twisting the knife.
I just want this to be as bad for you as I can possibly make it.
Did you play until the break of dawn?
Something like that,
All
yeah.
right.
Last night was the time to get in and play competitive. The Bungie guys were actually on in there to totally beat everybody up.
Oh, sounds fun.
You know,
It
this
was
is
pretty fun.
You know, giving us access to the alpha a little early is kind of evil by Bungie because we have to go to E3 next week,
Yeah,
and you are just going to be destroyed.
I know. What we're looking at right now is something I think a lot of people haven't seen yet, which is the character creator, which I think they haven't talked about very much.
Okay, I like the menu interface.
Yeah,
a
the
lot.
menu interface. This goes through the whole game. This is like the way that things work.
Very clean. It reminds me of kind of the Forza games, or not Forza. What was it? Grid always had the cool menus.
Mm-hmm. And so that whole kind of like cursor mechanic works through the whole game. It's really neat. But here for the character creator, it's not incredibly complicated or anything like that, but it does give you lots of cool options for how you're going to make your character. What do we want to do here, guys? So we want to have a crazy...
Can you show off some of the depth? Like that,
Yeah, sure.
That mask you just brought up, or the robot head, was very cool.
So these are the exos. They're the kind of like robotic dudes, and you can make them look like all sorts of crazy things. So I'm going to make him like a green armor kind of stuff.
Scroll through those face options up top.
Sure. So each one of these, you're going to be able to like further customize both with colors and with like the head feature that's going to be on it.
I hate to say this. They remind me of Michael Bay's Transformers.
I can see
Especially
a little
go
bit
to
of
the
that.
very last one. That looks
This
like
one here?
Bumblebee, and turn it gold. No, the very last one.
Here.
Yeah. Make that gold.
All right.
That's totally Bumblebee.
It does look a lot like Bumblebee. Well,
It's like Garrus.
I feel like
yeah.
let's move forward with Bumblebee then. You can do all these kinds of crazy like headpieces to them.
Oh, cool.
And by the way, this is just for this race, right? Like if you did human, you'd be customizing their hair and
Pinhead from
and all that
Hellraiser.
kind of stuff. Let's do this kind of crazy look.
And you can change those colors too.
Yeah, and then you can change
sweet.
these. These are all different features. You set this to be this color, so that's pretty sweet.
What about the human heads?
Sure.
You don't have to scroll over all of them, but I'm just curious how many options you have. Like, okay, so it's pretty much the same for both types then.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a huge number. You're not like doing adjustments to how long their nose is or things like that, right? It's not too crazy complicated. But
Go down to hair. Can you give him a goatee?
let's see. I don't know if it's going to give us beard options.
Guess it doesn't exist in the future.
No
against
beards in the
regulations.
future. So anyway, it's pretty cool. There you have all these different things that you're going to be able to use to set your dude or your girl apart. But what I'm eager to show you guys, I actually had a character that has gone in and played through all the content that's in the alpha, and I want to go in and show you the tower.
Okay.
So right now we are in orbit. This is my ship that I've purchased. It's purely a cosmetic thing, but I bet there's a lot of people out there like me who are going to spend a lot of their money, their glimmer, as they call it in this game, on getting a new ship. And from here, we get to choose where we're going to go. Now, this is the alpha, and you can kind of see there's a lot of like weirdly empty spaces up here for what look like circular objects, very much like planets. But you can see that we can go look and like here is the Earth Old Russia zone. And these are things that we could go down and do here.
And that's what they've shown us so far. Is most of the stuff, the content we've seen, is on Earth, right?
It is. One of the things we haven't seen yet is the tower, which is the social hub of the game. So we'll hop
on the
into
moon?
there. No, it's on Earth, but we'll see kind of the ship as it kind of loads in. The whole idea is that your ship is going to fly to the destination, and if it's on a different planet, like if you were going to the moon, you'd actually go into like warp speed, and the ship would kind of fly through this hyperspace tunnel to get you where you're going next.
And for the sake of full disclosure, we, getting up to this moment, we cut out some load times as we were trying to figure out what
Sure.
we wanted to do. So there is some loading. It isn't significant, at least in this alpha. But this is a true transition right here.
Yeah, exactly. And it is alpha. We should caveat it. You can even see it in the upper right there. It's letting us know that these are all things that are going to be optimized, and I think that very definitively includes load times. But what this will eventually take us to is where people are going to be wandering around, doing shopping, hanging out with each other in kind of a third-person mode, which you can see right now. This is my guy. He is an Awoken, which is one of the races. And this right here is the tower. This is the home of the Guardians. You can see the Traveler out there in the distance. Which is pretty sweet. This is the last city.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't a moon. That was a Traveler then.
Yeah, exactly.
What am I thinking?
And so this is the last city of the humans, or the last city on Earth, rather. I guess there's humans and Exo and Awakened.
Don't do it!
Yeah, he's really thinking about it, isn't he? And there's just a bunch of really cool stuff here. I'll kind of show you guys the map for a second. So this is pretty sweet. These are all the things you can do. It's not like a massive, gigantic hub, but there's a lot of fun stuff that you can look around here at. There's different shops. There's different people to talk to. There's a place to send and receive mail. And so
That's what Jeff Cork and I are going to spend most of our time doing.
Absolutely.
Writing letters. Miller, one thing I'm noticing about your character design is you're not very good at matching. Is there a slider as you're setting up your gear that you can have it all match?
So let's take a look for a second at the gear screen. This is my character right now, and as of right now at level 8, which is as high as I can go in the alpha, there's not a lot of options for changing colors or anything, which is why I look like a mismatched crazy person right now. But I can change the thing that I'm wearing at will, and we'll see if that makes any difference. So that's like a different color.
And I'm noticing when you're running around the hub area, you don't have your helmet on. Do you only put it on for combat?
Yeah, exactly. And so all of these things, the whole setup of the tower is meant to evoke this is a social space where you can show off your character, right?
You put the
eyebrows.
helmet on
Yeah,
immediately.
I think that might be a little bit of a bug there. So I'm sorry, what's that?
I was going to say, could you just put your helmet on immediately? That's grotesque.
I'm afraid not.
Okay, don't look back at us.
So we're gonna run down here. These are shops, right? So right here as a Crucible handler, the Crucible is the new competitive multiplayer stuff that they've announced. And you can see this is all stuff well beyond my level, requires level 20. But these are some of the awesome legendary pieces of gear that I might be able to get later on in the game.
Wait a minute. Go back and look at this guy's shop. It looks like he's set up to give you a pedicure or, give you psychiatry or something like
Should
that. This is
I
not
maybe
an
just,
armor shop.
Sit down. There we go.
Oh,
Talk
cool.
to me. Talk to me, buddy. He's a very silent person. All right. Well, see you, buddy. We'll have more talks later. This over here is where the heads of each of the kind of main groups hang out. This is the head of the Titans and the Hunter. And my patron sort of character, because I'm a warlock, is right here. And this person I can come to and we'll have warlock-specific gear that I can pick up.
So they're just teasing you with level 9
Oh
stuff.
god, there's all this stuff in this game right now that is such a tease. All this content, we looked at the map before, and the idea that you could go and wander around other planets, but we can't do that yet. This is actually looking out, by the way, the other direction away from the city, which is kind of neat. What we're defending against.
So they haven't gone paperless.
I don't think so.
That's
I don't
interesting.
think they've gone paperless. And there's also a hangar here where you can go buy new ships, buy new speeder bikes. What they call, I'm going to call them speeder bikes. I think they're called sparrows in the actual game. Just like an MMO, there's a lot of things like a bank that is shared between your characters, which is pretty neat. So if I had multiple characters and I wanted to pass weapons or armor back and forth, I can do that here. You also share Glimmer, your main currency, between characters, which is another feature I really like.
So it's easy to start a new character if you're just like, I'm having a good time with this guy, but I just saw someone that I grouped with.
Yep.
And he had all these amazing abilities. I want to check that out.
Yeah, exactly. There's a crafting dude here. You pick up these like engrams that you can go and effectively almost like unidentified items that you can then go and get made into real new equipment.
So is all the ship stuff, you'd mentioned that it's cosmetic, is it all purely cosmetic?
It is. As near as I can tell so far. Maybe later on in the game they'll change that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to pull up here. This is my ghost, my little AI companion, and he is how you do stuff. I still have the crazy eyebrows.
How'd you do that, by the way?
I pressed. I'm playing on PS4, and I pressed the little central gamepad. What do they call it? The touchpad? Yeah. And so we'll jump ahead here to where we're actually going to be out wandering around on Earth doing some solo exploration.
And yesterday you were playing co-op with Andy McNamara.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about the co-op experience?
Totally. I mean, one of the things they've shown off the most of at this point has been the co-op stuff. And so we've seen the strikes and just kind of the idea of moving around with your buddies. And it's pretty easy to get engaged with. The strike that's in right now, you go down to Earth, and if you have two players, it'll hook you up with a third player that just kind of is pulled in. You can sort of set a kind of difficulty on those strikes, where you set it to, right now there's like a brave setting and a legend setting, which is, as you might expect, very much like playing Halo on heroic or legendary, which makes the actual mission a little bit harder. It's really fun. I think one of the big things that remains to be done with the game is balancing some of that co-op stuff. When we played yesterday, Andy and I, we had a really awesome time, but there were some of the bosses that took a really long time to kill, and that's just purely a matter of balance.
Well, what is that big ship, or what is... Holy crap.
Isn't that cool? So this area of the world, in the fiction, this area of Russia is where all of the colony arcs departed to go out into the solar system during humanity's golden age. And so this was conceivably going to be a ship.
That thing launched like 3 space shuttles. That is awesome.
Yeah, and so there are still colony ships that are on the sort of on the tarmac, so to speak, that never launched because the darkness came and wiped out most of humanity. So check it out. We've got my ghost here, who, by the way, is voiced by Tyrion. I'm just going to call him Tyrion, and if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Peter
then,
Dinklage.
That's right. And from here, I can summon my speeder bike, which is awesome.
So you pull out a cube out of nothing that then turns into a giant speeder bike.
So let's kill some dudes.
And it talks.
Okay, what are you shooting out of your hand?
That is my melee power, believe it or not. Because I'm like a warlock.
What's the science behind it, or what, do you know what it is?
Yeah, so the idea with the warlock, not to get too fiction-y nerdy on you here, but the idea with the warlock is that they are channeling the power of the traveler. They have learned how to control what the traveler's power, I guess.
And what is the nerdy version of that?
Well, that's pretty much the nerdy version. Like the idea that you're like, you are this guy who has been given power by this ancient alien being, this giant globe that came to the Earth, Traveler, and he is, when you're doing these sort of magic spells, you're effectively using power that he has taught to humanity, or that he has given to humanity, and that's where the kind of magic component comes from.
And who are we going against?
The darkness is the ancient enemy of the Traveler, and we don't know very much about the darkness yet, other than he also has these sort of surrogate races that he's picked up.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Who are we going against right now?
Sure.
The Vandals.
So the Fallen are one of several main races. Think of it like the Fallen would be like the Covenant in Halo, right? It's a whole class of alien enemy attackers. And there's also there's other ones, but the Fallen are the main ones that have taken over this section of Russia on Earth. Oh, I've got my super. That's going to be fun.
So whenever you come back here, is it the same set of enemies, or is it mission based? How is this kind of unfolding?
It's pretty much the same group of enemies. They maybe change a little bit, but not dramatically so. But what you are going to see here is that you can see in my little mini map in the upper corner, I now had that mission. I can pull up the details in case people didn't hear it as we were talking. We need to analyze the neutron print left by fusion reactions and send any data back to Ava Levante. Now, all that really means is that this is one of those kind of, it almost seems like it's procedurally generated. It's I guess it's not, because there is a kind of like story component to it. But these kinds of like mini missions show up all the time.
So there's a lot to do then.
That was my super, by the way. There's a lot to do, and whenever you're not doing one of the big kind of story-based missions, you can always do these kinds of solo explorations, and there's always these missions to pick up. So as soon as I finish a mission with my grenade, that's not the greatest throw.
So there's a cooldown. Is that the blue meter there that's filling up?
Yeah.
It's a cooldown, but also stuff you do makes it grow faster?
Well, you have a part of your gear stuff. Let me show you here. You can see my intellect is going to reduce the cooldown of my super Nova Bomb. And strength is going to boost the effect of cooldown on energy drain, which is like, I believe, my melee thing that I'm using right now. There's also ones that you can do to reduce grenade cooldown. Different sort of stats are mainly there to make the cooldowns lower.
And you can have 3 firearms at once, or just 3 weapons, I guess?
Yeah, so you can see this is my auto rifle right now. And I also have equipped my special weapon and my heavy weapon. And the way that that's working is I'm tapping triangle to go to this special weapon here. If I want to pull out the heavy guns, I hold down triangle, and I've got this super cool rocket launcher, which I don't have any ammo for right now. So I'll switch back away.
You should have bought some.
Now, I'll point out to you again, like this mini map has that little white arrow on it, which is telling me how to get where I'm going. This is really just a guidepost to carry you to combat content, right? It's carrying you forward to, like, I've got a mission that I'm going to go get some XP for. It's going to move me along a path that probably has some enemies at it that'll be fun to go kill. There's nothing dramatically like story focused about this. It's just that, like, I want to go do some leveling. I want to explore. I could be doing this co-op with a buddy. This is what Andy and I did for a long time yesterday.
And now you're getting loot. There's not a lot of it. It's not like Borderlands or Diablo, but
No.
you are getting loot. When you kill enemies, what are they dropping? Do they drop your weapon, their weapon, or are they just dropping clips for you and currency?
Most of the time, they're dropping ammo.
Okay.
You do occasionally get. I haven't totally figured out the formula for what gets you items. It seems to be kind of random and rare. It certainly happens more when you're fighting big dudes, when you fight like a boss kind of a thing.
Yeah, the first demo that Bungie illustrated showed some of those loot drops tied to the bosses.
Totally.
So talk to me about exploration. Like, what kind of things can you find if you decided to, you're not going to go by the waypoint strictly? Are there like sub-objectives that'll pop up? Or
Yeah. Well, one of the ideas here, I think, is that, like, oh, this guy's a hardcore dude. Uh-oh, I'm out of ammo.
Ooh.
There we go.
So he dropped, what did you call your currency?
Glimmer. A glimmer.
Glimmer, okay.
Glimmer. I need to go find some real ammo, though. Oh, so here's you're talking about side objectives. You can find, like, crafting supply sorts of things out here, which is kind of neat.
Look out, that guy has a cape. Nice shot.
You're also there's not a lot that are happening right now. I mean, as you can see, the world seems pretty empty right now.
And you're level 8. These guys are level 5, so you have a clear advantage, right?
I have a clear advantage. When I was going through here the first time, it was significantly harder. But, oh, what's that? That might be bad news. There, in the real game, there would be lots more people running around, right? Right now, it almost feels like I'm in a solo single-player game, but the real game doesn't ever have that quality, at least the way that it's been described to me. there's barely anybody playing in this like first look alpha right now. I really need some primary ammo.
But it still looks like it holds up on its own as single player if you just want to play it by yourself.
Oh,
right?
I think so, totally. And not only that, but like even if you were playing solo, it has a great system for finding people to play the cooperative stuff with you. So if you want it to see that stuff, it's not like it's going to be locked off to you. Unlike a lot of MMOs where, unless it has a good group finder feature, you're not going to ever see that stuff. Let's get back on my speeder bike.
That is so cool.
I also really love the sound of the speeder bike.
The maps you played on pretty big.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the main map that's available to look at right now, which is this old Russia area. And the strikes and the other cooperative stuff that will occur here they're actually like a part of this map. Like I could kind of go to some of those places without having it be the story content of the strike. Let's see where do I go here?
That looks like a heavy.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if we can go take that guy out.
It's level 9.
That guy takes a little bit longer to bring down.
Whoa, cool.
He's got some special powers. He's gonna heal himself up a little bit.
He's got friends.
But he does not like my super.
Just vaporized him. What are some of the supers like for the other classes?
Well, the different classes. Let's take a quick look and hope we don't get killed here. This is the subclass. I don't know if they've actually officially renamed these now. They used to be called focuses. But the Void Walker subclass, just by using it, I'm leveling it up. So I'm getting pretty high and like having a full setup of like stuff to do, but I don't have anywhere near the lower things in each selection. So you can see right here I've unlocked both the Vortex Grenade and the Scatter Grenade. I can select one or the other to use, but they each have to unlock one by one. So this Glide is my main movement mode right now, but later on I'll unlock this, which would be an upgrade that gives me better directional control while in the air. And that's just through use. Now, the thing about the subclasses or the focuses, whatever they end up calling them, is that they're like pieces of equipment, so I can trade them out at will. I only have the one right now, but you can see there's room for these other ones over here.
Gotcha.
And those would totally change the way that the game plays. So my super is that kind of like big bomb thing. The Titan has one where he jumps up in the air and then slams down into the ground to make this big shock wave. And the Hunter has one that he draws this really awesome like golden gun kind of thing that does a whole lot of damage. Let's see. Where is it? Want me to go over
Those
here?
deaths look pretty cool. I mean, all the visuals in this.
Yeah, visually
Just
it
stunning.
is pretty remarkable. And hey, look, we're getting to our mission completion area here where I just need to scan this environment. My ghost is going to take
With
a quick
Tyrion.
look at it with Tyrion. And I get 100%. And that's all it was. So it was really just...
I'll inform Levante.
There he was. There's Tyrion. It really is just carrying me between content. It's not really like complex missions, but it is stuff that's going to let you level in a fun way and go through. Jeff, you were asking about other things that are going to happen along the way. If this was a real game and there were lots of people in here, we'd be seeing probably lots more public events spawning where
Okay.
they drop like a super hard enemy into the middle of a field and you'd have to confront them.
Would it be possible, too, that if you're grouping with someone, that scanning might be your objective, they may have another one that you're accompanying them? Or is everyone doing the same
When you're
thing?
grouping, you're all doing the same mission, and if either of us completes it, we get the experience for it, which is actually kind of nice.
Let's use your heavy weapon. You got 3 ammo for it now.
Sure. Let's see if these Hive guys like missile launchers.
Guessing no, Miller.
Totally missed that time. Let's see if I can
Oh,
get
you
this time.
the splash damage though.
I did do some flash damage.
You got 1 shot left.
Okay. Let's see here.
Eat it.
There we
Nice.
go. And I'm going to run away here a little bit to heal up for a second.
So it has running away.
It does have running
Good to
away. But by and large, I mean, if we're talking about a summary of my experience yesterday, I had a really fun time. One of the things we're not looking at because there's nobody playing it this morning as we're recording this is the competitive stuff, which is very cool. They have the kind of their equivalent of a domination mode that's already available for play on a couple of different maps. One that's on the moon, and one that is here on Earth.
So they really don't want to go too far outside of kind of Earth's orbit then, and all that stuff.
I mean, I think one of the for better or worse, one of the big things that remains to be seen about this game is all the stuff about exploring the solar system and going to other planets. They're not showing off a lot of that at E3, and they're not necessarily talking about it a lot. And so that'll make, when the game comes out, I think more exciting for everybody. Although I do hope that people don't get too tired of seeing this old Earth environment, which admittedly is very cool.
I've been stuck here my entire life.
We've seen it a lot at this point. And by the way, just so you get a sense of it, we finished that last mission, and sure enough, here's another mission if we wanted to go do it.
Everyone on the scene up for some target practice. Sending details.
That I could go do, and there's always one of these little mission beacons nearby to send me off to do more content.
So whenever you hit the touchpad, you summon Tyrion then?
Yeah, that pulls up Tyrion, and I can either abandon the objective and then go back to orbit.
So you can only have one active thing at once then?
Yep.
Okay.
At least in my experience with the game so far. It actually turns off the beacons that would give you new missions until you do this thing.
Oh.
I almost got him.
Nope, keep doing it. Oh.
I'm going to die now.
Can they destroy your vehicle?
They can knock you off of it. I actually got off of my own will that time. But if you're getting hit really hard, or you go into a zone, you definitely, by the way, can go into zones where you're fighting dudes that are too hard, and they will knock you off of your Sparrow and then kill you.
And real quick, I know we're winding down, but talk to me about recharging shields and health.
Well, you just kind of see it up top there. They've kept it very simple. It's that little bar along the top. It's a pretty standard Halo-style timer where when things go down, your best bet is to go into a place like this, sit down, and wait for about 10 seconds for it to all to go back up. So, I think that structure works. The gameplay itself feels very Halo-like, with some exceptions. You can see right now I did my crazy jump mode thing, right? You wouldn't be able to do that in Halo, where I'm doing this big kind of parabolic arc glide. And I have my super. My grenades, instead of being numbered, are on a recharger. And I've got 3 weapons instead of 2. But with the exception of that, the feel of the combat, like how long it takes to bring down enemies, that kind of stuff, that feels very similar.
And of course, this is alpha, but these enemies do not seem very bright. Seriously, it seems like they're almost always pointing in the wrong direction.
I think that's fair, but keep in mind that this is going to be the equivalent of their starter zone, which I think is probably about as accessible as they can make it be.
Yeah.
Let's move.
All right. Yet another mission complete. And if I was not at level cap, by the way, that would be moving me up. I'd be leveling, getting new experience levels.
Where does it show experience?
Well,
I know you're maxed
level
out
here.
But, okay, right there.
Yeah, so your subclass is the main thing that you're leveling up. At least in what I've kind of understood about it, I think there is an overall level.
Okay, so you have eight of those filled in then, and you're working on all those.
All these just kind of are automatically happening. But by the way, it's not just your subclass. Once you start getting anything, these are junk items, right? They're just white. Once I have greens, and I even have, though I can't wear it yet, a blue item. It says requires level 10. Now check it out.
It really is.
When you go into this, you can see it has its own upgrades too. So if I wear this Tengu operant chest armor for a while, that's going to make this feature happen, where hand cannons are going to be better. It's going to increase the armor's defense, and it's going to help with fusion rifles. And so if I was a person who was using a hand cannon and fusion rifles, this would be like a really great piece of armor once I level it.
Because you have to upgrade the arm to get pockets, basically.
Yeah, and you also have to find the materials that you'll need to do the upgrade. The more powerful the weapon, once you get past blues and into like legendary items, you're actually having all sorts of different things that you can upgrade about not just your focus or your subclass, but also your weapons and your armor.
So it's more about, rather than just like like a pinata drop of items all the time. You've got like a handful of things that you feel like more attached to because you're leveling it up individually.
Exactly, and a lot of those legendary items I think are going to be pickups, but they're also going to be things that you can buy once you get back to stuff. Oh, check it out, an event. Now this is, we should probably not try to do this event.
You have 3 people here.
Well, you can give it a try, but these guys are probably going to take a really long time. Although, wait.
No, you have 4 people.
Yeah, and for that matter, it looks like he's pretty low on health. So let's see if we can do this here. This is just a public event that has shown up. And these mobile Deathwalkers, you can see he already did a lot of damage to me just in a few seconds.
Here comes a dropship, too. Someone needs to be revived.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get to him. I'll run over there.
I was going to ask you how the vehicle controls, but you could wait until you destroy this here.
Yeah,
what are some of the bosses you've seen? Obviously, we've seen a ship, something like this.
Yeah, the two big bosses that are in the game right now, kind of, if you want to think about it. I mean, any of the enemy types can be a boss by them just making him better. Make him a better,
like a legendary enemy. Then.
Yeah, exactly. Those show up sometimes in public events too, just like another fallen soldier who happens to be really good. All right, guys, way to go. So we finished the event.
You got 3 stars on that. Is that the highest you can get?
I'm not sure how that ranking system works yet. I'm afraid I haven't done enough of these, frankly, because there's not a lot showing up right now. Because I don't think there's been a lot of times that there have been a lot of players. But this is a good opportunity to see how that would work, that you come into one of these public spaces, we'd all kind of fight together, and then when it's all done, everybody kind of splits off and goes on their own. This is probably a fire team of 3 people who are playing together.
There's one guy behind you, too, right?
And there's a dude over here who's probably...
He just went by you.
Yeah, he's probably playing on his own, because you're normally playing with a 3-person team. So I think if you were looking forward to Destiny, if I were you, I would be hunting out your fire team now. Talk to your buddies, figure out who's getting this game on what systems.
Jeff?
And figure out a group of 3 people that want to play together. Because that's going to be the way to do it.
Yes.
No offense, Miller.
That's fine. I'll invade your fire team, Reiner.
Well, anything else you want to point out here? I'd like to know the vehicle controls, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Are they kind of following the traditional Halo method? Or
it's even more straightforward. That it's more like driving a car. So I'll kind of pull up my Sparrow here. So I'm just using the left stick right now to steer around. The right stick is changing my direction. L2, which would normally be my aiming down my sights, is my kind of zoom around thing, which is how, by the way, it's really fun to drive this thing. Because you're doing all this kind of sliding around. And then you also have like, there's kind of like air brake things here.
How do you do that?
That's R2.
Okay. No weapons on it
I
yet?
kind of hit him that time. No, there's no weapons on these guys. There are weapons in competitive multiplayer that have weapons on them. I'm sorry, let me say that again. There are vehicles on competitive multiplayer.
With weapons.
Yes. And these are the wire wraps I need for this mission. So I could kind of just keep on wandering around and killing these guys. But you're not. We've seen what the experience is, I think, of kind of solo adventuring here.
Right, and then you got into an event. That was cool.
We got into an event. If we wanted to, we could go back to orbit and say, like, go do competitive play. Although, like I said, there's nobody there to play with right now. We could go back to orbit and choose to do, like, let's do a more structured mission, one of the strikes, or kind of focused story mission adventures. There's not a lot of those in the game yet.
Yeah, have you gotten a taste of how the story's going to unfold? Are they going to do story sequences within it, or is it all kind of text through the mission objectives?
I think that there's going to be some story stuff. I don't know how extensive it's going to be. Bungie is notorious about sort of jealously guarding their story stuff before game release, and so it's hard to know. I think I finished my mission there.
I bet all is not what it seems with this traveler fella.
I think that's possible. I think we're going to find out more about the darkness, the ancient enemy of the traveler, and I think there's going to be reasons that we need to be flying to these other planets to go do things.
Well, anything else you'd like to point out, Miller?
No, I think that gives us a pretty good look at it. I mean, if you if you like, there's a lot of if you likes about this game, right? Like if you like MMOs, there's good reason to consider this. If you like games like Borderlands, there's good reason to check this out. If you like FPS like Halo, there's a good reason to check this out. I mean, Bungie has hit a lot of notes correctly, and if they can go through and make the balancing right and make the story cool, I think that they're going to have a pretty sweet game on their hands.
Well, thanks for taking the time, Miller, to show us this, and thank you all for watching this episode of Test Chamber. Jeff, I'll see you in our strike team.
Absolutely. Sorry, Miller.
See you next time, everyone, on Test Chamber.